don't think you'd have to be a genius to know that the last thing the Horn of Africa needs is more foreign military bases, more weapons and more European meddling. What we call our strategic relationship isn't about human flourishing, it's about the EU's ambitions as a superpower. There's now a new great game in the Horn of Africa. Greater and lesser powers are pockmarking the place with military bases. France, the US, China, Germany, Japan, Italy, Saudi Arabia all have a presence in the tiny area of Djibouti alone. Mercenaries are swarming in from all quarters. The entire region is being militarised. War is in the air. And what about the people facing climate and food insecurity? None of this benefits them. We talk about instability, but we only make it worse. We flood the place with weapons, hand over the profits to European arms companies and charge the bill to our citizens. And then with the carnage, we go back in and we do it all again. It's a racket. Strategic relationship, it's one thing after another, isn't it? Really, it's the same as it ever was. And all I can say is God save Africa from Europeans offering help.
And Vugu Nayosi, Black Revolutionary Now. Just want to speak on Africa and European countries. And first of all, if you don't know, Africa is the richest continent in the entire world. America and Canada wants to keep Africa poor because they benefit from Africa for centuries. And we all know about the Berlin Conference in 1894 to 1885, where European countries, 9 to be specific, slice up Africa and take Africa for themselves. Yes, this is a system of white supremacy over a century and some more. When you look at white people who have talked about Africa, and Africa is poor, and Africans can help themselves, and all these things, you have to realize that they have been benefiting from Africa all this time. Europe and Canada and America would be nothing without Africa. So they need Africa to be poor. They need to control puppet leaders so they could control and enrich themselves. So white supremacy have a system to make it feel they are supreme. They are better than anyone else. They are cowards. Because if you think you're better than everybody else, and specifically African black people, why do you need black people to survive? White Europeans need Africa to survive. Talk about a people who talk about they are so supreme, they are so great, but they need black people to survive. Pretty amazing, huh? Pretty amazing. So all this propaganda for decades, for centuries, talking about they are the supreme race and they are so smart and they are so this, whatever. If you're so smart, why don't you get your resources from Europe and all these countries for yourself? Oh, yeah, I forgot. Europe have no resources. So when you look at countries like Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali, who has kicked out the French, kicked out Canadian mining groups, American mining groups out of their country, you understand why it's all this destabilization to keep their countries poor, with some help from some black puppet leaders. They could go in and exploit and steal and rob and keep the country in a perpetuate state of chaos. So yes, we understand why. So when people come to me and tell me about how great Europe is and how nice it looks and all this nonsense, the reason why it looks like that today is because of Afrika. The 12th and 13th century, Europe was in a black plague. Europe was disease infested. Europe was dirty and nasty. They didn't have anything. Until they start journeying, until they start going out into the old world. Not the new world, is new to them. So we have to change the language in the way how we speak. So once they discover so-called the new world, that's when they start pillaging and stealing and robbing. And of course it comes with genocide and all these other things. Yeah, but it's supreme, right? They are so great and they don't need anyone, right? Yeah. So Europe need Africa to survive, hands down. Because why all these military bases are in Africa? Where's all the military bases from different African countries in Europe? Why is that? We understand why. We understand why. So I'm sick of people telling me how Africa is poor. Did you know the Eiffel Tower in France was built on Haiti money? Yes. I did a video on that where I was talking about when you look at France, who robbed and had sanctions on Haiti after the Haitian Revolutionary War in 1804, and Haiti had to pay back France. Reparations for France losing to the Haitian people. Yes. Billions of dollars go into Europe in the disguise of trying to save Africa, trying to help Africa. No, they're helping themselves. So it's great to see the Sahel area in Africa with Captain Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Gota, and Chiani taking control of their resources, rightfully so, because Europe, France specifically in this case, has been robbing those countries for decades. $500 billion from 14 African countries France was stealing. $500 billion a year. So who needs who? Who needs who? So once we rise up and as African Black people and take claim of our homeland, we will be strong everywhere we go. So once again, Europe need Africa to survive. We don't need no one outside of Africa. And once Africa is free from neo-colonialism, Africa will extend its hand and help other African Black people in the diaspora. Peace and Black power. Black revolutionary now.